And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free.
Playoff party. Braun, Pierzynski, Todd Kratz. Let's go. Big game 5 tonight. Big game 5 tomorrow. We'll get to those. We'll start with the Yanks in just a sec. But before we do anything, the latest complaint, which we always like to bring up and see if it's valid from baseball fans, is the upcoming playoff schedule. There is a specific game that is pissing people off. Would you like to be informed about it if you haven't been already?
Yeah.
Okay. Game 2 of the NLCS. 4, AJ?
3. What time is it at?
It's at 1 o'clock West Coast time.
That's
on
4 Eastern.
Monday.
Sorry.
Right.
4 Eastern.
4 Eastern.
Yeah.
4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Monday, game 2. So you're going to have the Mets taking on either the Padres or Dodgers, same time zone, so it doesn't matter. The complaint is they are playing Sunday night in either LA or San Diego, and then Monday afternoon, 1 p.m., they will play another game. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of reasoning for this. At least some sympathizers were saying, hey, they have to fly cross country right after that, so you give them the time, although I'm like, they still do have an off day, workout day, whatever you want to call it, right after that. I don't know what the answer is because you do want to keep the games a little bit staggered. So the later game will be the Yankees taking on either Detroit or Cleveland, but there are some angry West Coasters. For example, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're going to have to get up pretty early to get there on time. You know the deal with the traffic out there. Are we okay with this? And if not, do we have a solution for this? Because, the West Coast team is going to get a little more late action, or should, because it makes more sense for them. But there is a big bad beast on the other side called the New York Yankees that are going to get primetime TV as well. So is there a solution for this? I mean, did you see this, AJ? Like, they're going to have an early game or two.
I saw it, but because the difference isn't the ALCS game 1 and this is game 2 of the NL?
Yes.
Yes, that's the difference, right? It's that it's game 2. It's not game 1. Game 1, they always want prime time. And the Mets and or Dodgers, I mean, listen, let's not forget the Mets and Dodgers or Padres are big markets, but the Yankees are the king. And it's, they have a 1 o'clock games all the time. It's not like it's 10 in the morning. So I don't know. I feel like this is a lot to do about nothing, but if you're a Dodger fan or a Padres fan, it sucks, but just show up and cheer for your team.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, that's the only thing. But hey, listen, we're good over here in the East Coast. I like it. I'm fine with it.
But that's the thing, Top Father. Some people are like, on the other end of this, oh, I don't want games at 9, then my kid can't watch, whatever. You can't please everyone. Welcome to the world.
You can't. And it's a 4 o'clock on the East Coast, so my kid gets off the bus at 3:45, so he's going to be happy as a clam coming home knowing that the game's coming on. So, hey, got to move to the East Coast. Sorry about it. I don't know what to tell you. Everything derives over here on the East Coast. They know that by now. That's life. So
people were really angry. Some people, some West Coasters.
People like watching football at 10 a.m. I'm not a big fan, and I don't want to eat breakfast and watch football. I want to have wings and down a root beer here and there. So it is what it is.
It's 1 game or 2, whatever it is, right? It's not that many games. It's a game or 2 that you have early, just like what you're talking about. You got a game in Europe for the NFL. You're doing 1 of those a year tops if you're a football fan. So deal with it. It's okay. Everyone will be all right. And let's charge the damn Mound.
Charging the Mound.
Kratz and I blabbed for a while on our post-game show, which you can check out, Yankees Royals. So we'll let you two take center stage. Todd Father, the Yankees are in the ALCS. Your thoughts on what they were able to accomplish here against a Royals team that obviously didn't have the same talent on paper, but really put together a nice season. And I thought they played a really tough series against the Yankees. I know it didn't go 5, but I thought the Royals showed up pretty well here.
Yeah, I thought they did too. I really did. I mean, if it wasn't for the bullpen for the Yankees, I don't know what could have happened. Let's be honest, just kind of boring if you want the truth. Don't get me wrong. in the postseason, it's not, you know, what you do, it's just not how you win. You just got to win. And I think that's the best part. But, they're going to have to pick up the run scoring. They're going to have to pick up maybe more long balls here and there. They're a home run hitting team. And, maybe on the flip side, this is a good thing. But, 2, 3, 4 runs a game, it's tough. Soto's still being dominant. The pitching has been unbelievable. Garrett Cole, my goodness, what else can you say about the guy? Probably could have gone another inning or two. But yeah, congratulations to them. They're moving on. It doesn't, like I said again, does not matter what it looks like is if you win, but they are definitely going to have to put up some more runs for sure.
I think the Royals pitched him really well. I mean, Judge wasn't hot, and Stanton saved him. Stanton and Gleyber Torres and some of the other guys did a lot of the damage that we expected from Judge and Soto. But Stanton was huge in this series. He's been great in the playoffs his entire career. I think this is a good win for the Yankees. Now, listen, I'm gonna say this: if the Yankees don't at least make the World Series this year because they're fighting the big bad AL Central, there will be riots on the street in the Bronx because the Yankees are. Once they saw their matchup with the Royals, the Tigers, and the Guardians, they're like, we got this. We don't even need to play the games. And there was a little scare put into them early in this Yankees series, but they got big hits when they needed to. They made all the plays defensively, and they pitched really well. Listen, it wasn't the Yankees did not score because they weren't swinging the bat well. They didn't score because I thought the Royals had a great game plan and did everything they could in their power to hold them down. The problem was the Yankees pitching was just better.
It was better. They ended up on the victorious end of this. But I agree with AJ. I thought the Royals did everything that they could from a pitching standpoint, and I thought the Yankees didn't just go into Yankee mode. I said it a little bit last night. They didn't just go into what kind of hurt the Phillies. They decided, hey, you know what? Maybe not decided, but they just got into that rhythm of we'll take our hits to right field. We'll take the ball back up the middle. This is what they're giving us. We're going to hit the ball hard in those directions and look for the balls to go through. If you look at the stats from the series, Gleyber's hitting 200, Soto's hitting 286 with a 746 OPS. And then you go OPSs from Judge 620, 340 from Wells. Jazz is a 521 OPS. So
it's 4 games.
Do well. I know. I understand. But they didn't do well because you're looking at the Dodgers-Padres series. Everybody's blasting the ball everywhere. That's not what the Royals ended up giving them. The Yankees took what the Royals gave them, and they got the most out of that series. So whoever they're going to face is going to have to come in and do the same thing. And I don't think those two teams are necessarily have the pitchability, a word I used a lot yesterday, as what the Royals had.
Okay, fair. But also, let's say this. Bobby Witt didn't do anything in this series. He got, 2 hits? No meaningful hits. Pasquantino did absolutely nothing, right? The Pasquatch got a hit late, but he did nothing before that. So Salvador had the 1 home run early, but he didn't do a whole lot. So let's give the Yankees credit, too. They pitched their tails off, and they held these guys down. And they kept the guys off base. They kept Massey off base. They kept the guys off base that could run and cause them a serious threat. So this was just a dominating series for me against a team I think a lot of people thought would give them a little bit of fits, the Royals. So let's tip our caps to the Yankees more than we look down upon them for only winning by a certain amount of runs. Who cares? You won.
Yep, you win, you move on, and we'll see if they're going to play either Cleveland or Detroit. So let's get to the beef here. We had the slide. Maikel Garcia was talking a little smack on social media, which obviously I love, a little subtle. But then you have Volpe and Garcia here getting into it. Bench is clear. Jazz and Cole are running their mouth against the Kansas City Royals team that comes out there to defend Maikel Garcia. So first on the slide here, Todd Father, do you want to present both sides?
Yeah, I mean, it was a later slide. He tried getting around him. Don't get me wrong. And as you're taught as an infielder, once you catch the ball, you don't want anybody getting anywhere close to the bag. So if you got to use your arms to extend a little bit, you do. I mean, the arm was a little higher than I would have liked from Volpe. But, thinking about the whole situation, you're in the postseason. I am not letting you get to that bag. You're allowed to do whatever you want once you get the ball in your hands. And if I got to give you a harder tag than usual, so be it. And then I'll pat you on the back on the way back and say, get off the base. So I thought I thought it was fine. I don't know why it kind of got that way. There was a little chirping going on, but I thought Volpe was outstanding in the whole thing. Just one of those plays, just a little harder than usual. But again, once you catch it, there's no way I'm letting you get to the base. And I'm going to tag you again, pat you on the back. And I respected what Volpe did there, to be honest.
I got no problem with any of this stuff. First of all, listen, he made a good hard slide, right? He kind of chopped down on the thing, whatever. He said he thought that Volpe was blocking the base. The replay showed that he clearly wasn't. I just think this was a good baseball play, and I love what Aaron Boone said after the game. Because if you want to see tough slides, watch Hal McRae and Willie Randolph back in the day when they were real slides and they were going after each other, right? I don't love that. Jazz came in from third base chirping, which he's been doing the whole time. Fine, that's kind of his MO now. But the one thing I didn't like is it just messed up Cole's rhythm, right? Maybe they were trying to do that. They were trying to send a message, hey, we're not going to back down from the big bad Yankees, and we're going to send you a message. But it really messed up Cole there for a little bit and got him out of his rhythm and led to the only run the Royals scored.
Yeah, and I've got the quote. Let's show the quote from Jazz postgame to keep the momentum going. This is the stuff that keeps it going into next year. Yankees Royals next year gets a little more interesting in the regular season. Jazz on Garcia's slide, quote, I just felt like he tried to go and injure Volpe because he was being a sore loser. He was talking a lot on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. I do the same thing, but I'm not going to go and try and injure somebody if they're winning a game. And I didn't like that. So I told him, we don't do that on this side. And I'm always going to stick up for my guys. What'd you think of the quote, Kratz?
This guy, he makes me laugh. He's not being yes, Michael Garcia was talking on Instagram and Twitter. So it's not the reason for his slide. He wasn't trying to hurt Volpe. In my opinion, maybe he didn't think he was going to need to slide and he went in late and it was because it was kind of awkward. It was going to be a tag play. You're yelling tag in that situation. Other guys are yelling get down. Maybe he just didn't read the situation right. If he was trying to injure somebody, believe me, Jazz. They showed the video plenty of times. George Brett going into third with Greg Nettles. When Greg Nettles kicked him in the face, George said, nothing doing, and he slugged him in the mouth. Like AJ said, the Hal McRae slide, he wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't trying to hurt somebody, but good for Jazz for giving us a little bit of extra flair.
He's insane sometimes. Hey, do you think, looking at that replay, and I don't mean to drag this on a little bit, that Franco was trying to swat the ball out of his hand there a little bit? Yes or no? You guys,
Garcia.
Or Garcia, sorry.
Yeah, I said that. It looked like he kind of went a little A-Rod and kind of, just a little bit. But that's what you do. Yeah. That's your natural instincts. Like he kind of did it, but it wasn't quite as bad as when like the karate chop happened, right? It was subtle.
I don't know.
I just think right here, he doesn't know if he's sliding or not. And then he doesn't even hold on to the base. He's not even close to holding on to the base.
But what about his right arm? Why does his right arm have to drag when he's catching the ball?
Mean Volpe?
Is that natural? Yeah, for Volpe.
That's more like it. To me, it looked like he was going to tag, and it was kind of like a reaction. Like he wasn't he didn't go in and give a forearm shiver to the face, in my opinion.
So he's protecting the moneymaker, basically. Second-year player, he's got a young baby face. Just wants to make sure.
I think he's protecting second base and not trying to get swipe. The whole swim move and around. He was just he was doing the shortstop's version of one knee down. Drop a knee on the guy.
One more explanation needed here. So he does the pat, and I think some people from other parts of the country think he's patting, get off my field. Todd Father, he played Jersey high school ball. You played Jersey high school ball. Can you explain how that's pretty customary, where you do the hard tap, it's okay, buddy, we're not trying to fight? You know that. I've seen that, right? I've gotten into it in sports in Jersey. And when they do that, it's actually a sign of I'm not trying to fight. Let's play good hard ball. That's what I took it as.
Yeah, no, and understood. And that's how I took it too. Some people could take it a different way. He's trying to get on top because the hard pat on the back when he didn't really need to do it. But it's just one more kind of icing on the cake. You know what? I got you, but let's move on a little bit. Yeah, no, the example I remember is a guy. I was playing Louisville in college when I was at Rutgers, and they were hooting and hollering over there, talking smack. And the one guy was a hit and run, and it was easy. I caught the ball at shortstop, and the guy struck out through it, and he just slowed up, and he never slid. He just stopped for the tag, and I absolutely shoved the what out of him, and he fell to the ground, and I turned around and walked off, and he was chirping the whole time. The umpire goes to me the next thing, he goes, "You did the right thing. You didn't slide. You got to tag him." I said, "You know what? That's how you're supposed to do it." So the pat, I thought, signified, I got you. Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. So we do move on, but only because the series is done. But I think there's a little bit of to be continued next year. But anyway, if you want more Yankees coverage, pinstripe territory, Derek running point last night, partying with the Yankee fans, and already trying to speculate on what the series is going to look like from a pitching matchup perspective, with Cole probably game 2, who's going game 1 for them. They didn't announce anyone yet. And we're going to talk to Jack Curry coming up next from Yes Network. We'll get more on this series and push it forward. One of my questions, who would the Yankees rather face, the Guardians or the Tigers? How to do a good shake. This episode presented by Huel, 15% off with the code FOUL when you go to Huel.com. Yeah, but Black Edition. You want to see what I have today?
Ooh,
Nice.
I just got a Black Edition too.
Read wow, look at all of you matching. That's cute, but I dare to be different. Cheers, everyone.
Cinnamon roll?
Cinnamon
Ooh.
roll.
Oh my God, no way! I would die for that one. That's beautiful. I love cinnamon rolls.
It's really good. It's really good. Silky smooth. Tell everyone. Affordable, low sugar. What else stands out?
27 vitamins and minerals. The fact that I can just take it right out of my fridge, go from the show right to practice. See ya.
Over 400 million meals sold worldwide. Yes, 400 million. When you go to the Huel website, you'll see there's bars. There's all kinds of little savory snacks and foods you can get. But if you're interested in the drinks, obviously you see what we're rocking as the show's going on here. Tons of different flavors to choose from. And there's variety packs if you can't decide, which is a personal favorite of mine. So go get after it, FT fam. 35 grams of protein, all in one handy bottle with the Black Edition ready to drink. And that's 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Here we go. Yes Network's Jack Curry joining us again. Great to see you. Great to have you here on Foul Territory, Jack. And everyone give Jack a follow if you don't already at Jack Curry. Yes, but the Yankees move on. And first off, Jack, how are you? How's the series been and how's the playoffs been for you so far?
Scott, I'm doing great. I appreciate that. Todd, AJ, Erik, good to see all you guys. This is a great time of year. If you're covering baseball, you want to cover the postseason. I've been doing this for more than 30 years now, and I get excited to be able to cover the postseason. I think the storylines have been great. We've had some amazing stories, some unexpected stories. And I can't say it often enough. Just when you get to this time of the year, you're looking to see who's going to be the hero, who's going to step up next, so to speak. And I just look forward to going to work every day, and that's not a cliche.
Well, we love your breakdowns, your takeaways that you put up there on Twitter always help, especially during the regular season when I miss a game. It's just a really good, quick little wrap up on Twitter. So you're not doing it for nothing. A lot of people love those. But here's what I'm gonna do. We'll go backwards and talk about this series, but I want to go forward first. Who do you think the Yankees would rather face / which team's a better matchup, the Tigers or the Guardians?
It's a great question. Here's how I break it down. I think Cleveland's a better team. I think Detroit, because of its freewheeling nature and what has happened across the last several weeks, might be the scarier team because they just are continuing to win. But I also look at it with Skubal pitching on Saturday. He can't pitch the first 2 games of the series. So if Detroit happens to win, that's, to me, an obvious advantage for the Yankees because they would go Rodon and Cole. And Rodon got off to a great start and then couldn't get through 4 innings. I think he'll bounce back in the ALCS. And you just have a ton of belief in Cole if you're the Yankees. So you're in that clubhouse. If you're the Yankees, you're saying you feel you can beat whoever is out there. So I think that's the answer that you're going to get from them. I do think Cleveland, though, is the better team.
Hey, Jack, let me ask you this, man. We've been a part of it the whole year. We've seen the bullpen be as good as it can be in the beginning of the year, then kind of fizzle off in the end. And then now in the postseason, they're dominant. 0 ERA, 15 2/3 innings. What the heck are we going to expect next series? I mean, it's been up and down. These guys have been dominant. Clay Holmes is coming back with a vengeance. Luke Weaver looks absolutely unhittable with that fastball changeup combo. Talk a little bit about the bullpen and how good, they have been.
Well, Todd, you and AJ and Erik have been on teams where sometimes things happen and then you get a benefit from them. The Yankees didn't want Clay Holmes to lose his closer job. They wanted Clay Holmes to be their closer for the entire season. And then it got to a point with those 13 blown saves. You've got to win the games that you're supposed to win. And Clay Holmes was struggling in that position. Suddenly they try Luke Weaver. And if you want to talk about a front office deserving a pat on the back, the Yankees picked up Luke Weaver off waivers last year. They signed him to a $2 million deal for this year. And now the guy is absolutely dominant. Since he became the closer, he's struck out more than half of the guys that he's facing. Great fastball up in the zone. He throws a cutter and a changeup as well, but he's got this sneaky confidence about himself. And as you just said, Todd, lo and behold, as Weaver is ascending to that closer position, now you've brought Clay Holmes back. And now you've turned him into a weapon before that closer position. And I think the key for Holmes has been throwing his sinker more. He got away from the sinker in the second half and was throwing more sliders and sweepers. And I sometimes watch him, guys, and he did this last night. He'll throw a 97 or 98 mile per hour sinker on the corner. And you'll even see from the batter's reaction, why would you throw anything else? Now, he will work in the slider. He will work in the sweeper. But even last night, those 3 batters, all 3 outs came on sinkers.
You said Rodon is definitely starting game 1. Is that your opinion? Is that the team's opinion? Or should there be more of a discussion that Clark Schmidt should be in there game 1?
That's my opinion, Erik. What we'll have to see when the Yankees actually make it official. I think they're going to stay on rotation of what they've done so far. Rodon got off to a great start, maybe a little too amped up, maybe a little too hyped up in the first inning. I would turn that question to you and to AJ. You got a guy in the first inning who just looked so powerful, and then things fizzled away from him. It got away from him quickly. But I think, in all honesty, he's earned the right to be the number 1 guy. Schmidt came back and in September had to work his way back after the lat injury. I think they like Schmidt. I think he will probably end up being your game 3 starter. But I think they believe in Rodon. 32 starts this year. There was a hiccup of a handful of starts in there where he had about a 9 or 10 ERA. But other than that, the guy pitched very well, and I think they'll have belief in him for an opener.
Rodon the other night looked like Scott at a EDC. Here's the first beat drop, and he's like, yeah, right, and then it all goes down. He had that huge like adrenaline dump after that, and that happens a lot in starting pitchers in the playoffs. They come out and they're amped up, and then they realize like, oh man, I got to go more than just this one inning. So I think that's what happened to him. He'll learn from it. It's been a long time since Carlos Rodon pitched in the playoffs. Let's not forget. He'll learn from it. He'll be better, and he'll get through it. But my question is about the offense, right? We talked about it. Stanton was great, but Judge, Wells, some of these guys that they're counting on didn't really hit. Now, was that more Royals pitching, or we've seen this now from Judge for a few times, or is this on Aaron Judge having to make an adjustment? Because when I watched him, he looked the same. He was swinging at the same pitches. He just wasn't hitting them.
It's interesting that you asked, was it Judge or was it Royals pitching, AJ? Because I was at the workout before this series started, and I thought Matt Quatrero gave a very interesting answer when he was asked about Judge and Soto. They're so electrifying. They're so dynamic. How do you approach them? And he said, you either have to attack, avoid, but don't say you're going to pitch them careful, because that's not a good message to send to your pitchers, and that's not a good strategy. And they attacked. From the first pitch that they threw to Judge in this series, Waka threw a fastball, four-seam fastball, right on the outside corner. So they went right after him. I do think that the Royals pitched him very well. In that first game, he saw 8 changeups. He swung and missed at 4. The other 4 were out of the zone. Now, Waka obviously features a changeup. Reagans throws a changeup. In the second game, Judge saw 1 changeup. So they were mixing things up on him. But now we get to games 3 and 4, and you guys know this better than anyone. We have to scrutinize and analyze what's in front of us. In games 3 and 4, Judge, to me, looked more like the Judge we saw during the season. There was a 114-mile-per-hour line out. There were some walks in there. There was a double yesterday that I actually think Judge is primed to break out in the ALCS. I work with John Flaherty in the studio, I think, as a lot of you guys know. And as a former catcher like 2 of you, I love working with him because he's going to pick up on things that we don't pick up on. And he noticed a little bit of a timing mechanism that Judge had added. He's usually really still guys in the box, but Flash noticed there was just a little bit of a bat movement. I don't know what it means. If I happen to go out to the workouts and Judge is there, I'd love to ask him about it. But Flash thought that little mechanism was an adjustment that Judge had made, maybe to just get his bat into the zone at a pace that he wanted it to be there.
So Yankees just finally clinched to get to the division or the league series here. The Mets on the other side too as well. Their hot Lindor has been absolutely incredible. What are your thoughts on the Subway Series, man? Wouldn't that be just unbelievable?
Well, what were you, Todd, about 14 the last time there was a Subway Series?
I'm trying. What was it, 2000, right?
2000.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude. That's crazy. That's
well, I know
really good.
I knew 98 was Little League, so I just added 2.
Yeah.
So it's
You're
not
a
like I'm
smart man.
stalking your birth certificate. I would love it. I was a sports writer for the New York Times back then. You could not go anywhere in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tri-state area where someone was not talking about Mets versus Yankees. The rest of the country, they might be a little bored, that they might not want to see Mets versus Yankees. But whether you were getting gas, picking up your dry cleaning, buying a bagel, whatever you were doing, everyone was following Yankees versus Mets. And I'm obviously covering the Yankees. I've had a chance to watch some of what the Mets have done. The Mets are an exciting team, and I think one of the things we have to make sure we don't overlook, they're being looked upon because of some of these late wins and some of these exciting wins as an underdog. This team was not an underdog. I think this team finished the year 72-30 or 38. I don't have the number right in front of me, but they had a terrific run to end the season. And when you play that way heading into the playoffs, I think there's a lot of belief that you can just keep on going.
They had the best record in baseball since June 1st. It was 67-40. It was somewhere around there. Plus, also, sorry, Jack, I just did this series, so all the stats are fresh.
And my brother, also, by the way, I got to throw a compliment to you. My brother's a huge baseball fan. Out of the blue, I got a text. I love AJ Pierzynski. He's blunt. He breaks it down. So Rob Curry is a fan of your work.
I appreciate that. Thank you. If you would have said Steph Curry, maybe we could have talked some hoops or something. But it's okay. I get it. It's all good. Tell them thank you. But yeah, and also let's not forget the Mets. What's their payroll? Where do they rank in payroll? One.
They
right?
do, but AJ is a lot.
I know it's Scherzer and Verlander. But still, when you pull up the stats, but who'd they get for those guys? Acuna and some guys that have helped them also. So let's not forget that it's but they have the number one payroll in baseball. So when we're calling them underdogs, they're not underdogs. There it is. I mean, that's crazy, right?
They do, but let's also look around the diamond. Vientos is a kid. Alvarez is a kid. So you mentioned Acuna. He obviously got some playing time when Lindor went down. Yeah, you can't ignore the numbers. Those numbers are what they are. I just think we have to dig a little deeper to say that 40 to 50 million of that, maybe more, it isn't on this current roster.
Don't be Todd Frazier apologist, okay? Apologize for the Mets, okay? Like, stop. He usually has to apologize for the Yankees. This time he has Mets and Yankees to apologize. But let me ask you this: if the Yankees don't make the World Series, is this a failure with the way the playoffs lined up for them? Having to only play the AL Central, not having to play the Astros, not having to play the Orioles. I mean, listen, you say what you want about the AL Central. Yes, they got 3 teams in, but especially if the Tigers go and they don't have to face Scooble in game 1 or 2, I mean, this has to be considered a failure, right?
I will answer this in 2 ways, AJ. I covered the Yankees at a time where George Steinbrenner was the owner. And George Steinbrenner's mission for his team was always, if you don't win a World Series, it's been an unsuccessful season. Is that a tough mandate? Is that a tough bar to live up to? It absolutely is. But when you're around the Yankees, that's the bar that's been set, even when it's been 15 years since they've won a World Series. To your point about the immediate and what's in front of them, we had Brian Cashman on a preview show that we did, and I asked the same question of him that you just asked of me. I said, the Astros have been your nemesis. They've knocked you out of the postseason 4 times. You and the Orioles have been going head-to-head for the whole season. Those 2 obstacles are now pushed off to the side. Is there a clearer, I think I said less cluttered, is there a less cluttered path to you getting to the postseason? Now, Cashman, of course, swatted it away because he doesn't want his team to think that way. And he said if the Astros and the Orioles were so good, they would have beaten those teams. All of that being said, I'm on the side of, yes, this is a path for the Yankees to get there. They had the best record in the American League during the regular season. A couple of teams that you believed would have been their bugaboo, so to speak, are no longer there. They played well against the Central all year, 4-2 against the Tigers, 4-2 against the Guardians. Both of those teams will have had a longer series. I think the Yankees have to get to the World Series, and I've said that on Yes a couple of times.
If Rizzo is healthy, does he get added to the ALCS roster, or do they stick with what Birdie and Cabrera did?
Erik, that's such a great question. I don't know what Rizzo has done with those fractured fingers while the Yankees were playing these ALDS games. I was in the studio. I wasn't in Kansas City to see if Rizzo was actually on the field doing anything. I know Rizzo was hopeful that if the Yankees continued on, that he would be able to be added to the roster. I know how much the Yankees love having him, his leadership, the smart at-bats, the defense that he brings. Rizzo said that he wasn't ready for the ALDS, and there was no way that he could get there. I can't give you a complete answer on that until maybe Sunday when they have a workout day, and we can all find out what his status is. I will say, though, I was at the field on Friday, and I'd never seen John Birdie take balls at first base. And when I got back to the studio, I said to Flaherty, listen, I understand this is watching a guy for 15 minutes, and I know as an ex-player you might cast a somewhat discerning eye toward me. I said, John Birdie's going to be fine at first base. I go, this guy's athletic, he's instinctive, and then you see him make that 3-6 double play last night. Second game ever at first base to make the play, handle the footwork, and then to also make the throw. But Birdie acquitted himself very well over there.
Let's go over to third base. Are there people in the Yankees organization that are bristling? Maybe not players, because players are always put up the front of like, oh man, we got Jazz. We got his back. I got, Jazz saying that he's got Volpe's back. are all the antics and things that he's doing, kind of popping off after he hits a home run in a game they lost 4-2, getting chirpy in that game and then saying stuff afterwards. Are there people in the Yankees organization that's more like buttoned up and tightened up? Like, hey, let's make sure our media stuff is clean. Or are they like, have at it, carte blanche, all you can eat, Jazz?
So I will say that when Aaron Boone has been asked about Jazz Chisholm, and you bring up the one about chirping and him getting booed in Kansas City because he called the Royals lucky, Boone is the manager of the team. And when he was asked about it, he said, "Oh, that was lighthearted. That was not meant in any way that was offensive toward the team." I always think that you should shout from a mountaintop with a bullhorn how much you believe in yourself and your team. But, and you guys have all been in clubhouses, you don't need to give the other team any ammunition. So even if you did mean it in a lighthearted way, saying somebody else is lucky, I don't know that that's the best route to take. Focus on your own team. Be excited and enthusiastic about everything your team is doing.
Hey,
There you go.
Jack, last thing from me. Sorry, guys. I got a little trivia for you. Volpe, 3 hits, 4 walks at the age of 23 and younger. Give me the other 4 guys in Yankee history to do that.
Well, Jeter's got to be one.
There's Jeets in the postseason. Jeter?
23 or younger?
Yes.
Mickey Mantle?
Nope, but it's back in that time.
Joe DiMaggio?
Lou
Gehrig?
Lou Gehrig was another
And
one. The
there's
guy
one
that
more?
2 more.
Damn, I'm
First-
not doing too well here.
First base coach and a guy that's playing right now for the Yankees.
Someone that's playing right now for them? Did it?
Yes.
Oh, wait a second. This is terrible. Glaber. Wow.
Gleyber Torres.
Forget how young Glaber is. He's only
I
27.
meant to say third base coach. I apologize. Third base coach with Joe Torre.
Oh, Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph. Boom. All right. Well,
That's terrible, man.
I got you
should've-
one. My man Jimmy helped me out over here. So I got to give him credit. Thanks, Jimmy.
He made a little
that's a
quick
good question.
trivia. Yeah. It's tough. That's
All
tough.
good.
So let me
I got
ask you guys a
I
question.
got you,
What would-
Jack.
I got to ask AJ and Eric because I know Todd's a Tom's River guy. He would love a Subway Series. What would you guys think about a Subway Series?
Yeah. As long as we get Mike Piazza versus Roger Clemens.
First pitch, Piazza, like Japanese style. Piazza stands in the box. Roger throws the first pitch. I'd be up for it. I'm 90 miles from the city right now. I'm so close. I'd be up for it. I'm all about that smoke.
Listen, as someone that goes to the World Series and brings my son every year, I'd be okay with it. It's better than having to go to LA or San Diego versus, New York or Detroit or Cleveland. So it'd be easy. It'd be fun. But, I mean, the dream matchup is obviously Dodgers-Yankees. Let's be serious. Like, that's kind of it hadn't happened in so long. That's the dream matchup for most of the country. Now, Todd's going to shake his head because he's never been outside of New Jersey and New York. So the rest of the country doesn't want that.
AJ's big anti-New Jersey, anti-New York, as you could tell in his face.
Even though he was born in
Even
New
though I
York.
was born in New York, yeah, I hate it there.
There's
It's
a lot of
sad.
controversy here.
Listen,
Yeah,
if you turned on the broadcast, I mean, everyone's telling me I was such a Phillies homer, but I was a Mets homer. I was so confused. I didn't know which one of a homer I could be.
you love everyone, you hate everyone, but I mean, here, my mature professional baseball only perspective, Jack, is I think it would be good for the sport. I agree with AJ. Yankees Dodgers is the dream. You get 2 different markets. You get the global perspective from Ohtani, but if you have Mets Yankees every quarter century, I think that's not bad for baseball. If it was often, people would probably get more pissed about it, but I do think it's cool, right? It's 2 big markets, 2 huge fan bases, and you don't see this very often when they're both good like this,
And what would stand out about this year is I think you could have made an argument that the Yankees would get back there after the Soto acquisition. But the Yankees only won 82 games last year, and the Mets weren't supposed to be where they are right now. When it happened in 2000, both of those teams had made the LCS in 99, and obviously the Yankees won the World Series, so it wasn't as much of a shock. I agree with what you guys say about the 2 iconic franchises, though. You've got Ohtani and Judge, the 2 MVP winners. You'll You'll have Yamamoto, who the Yankees really, really thought they had a chance to sign, and then he ends up in LA. Cole is a Southern California kid, and he would be going up against the LA team. So I don't think we can miss either way. Obviously, all of these teams have to get through the LCS first, but it goes back to what I said at the beginning of this interview. Great, great time of the year for all of us.
All right, Jack, real quick, give me a quick answer. What's your favorite gimmick the Mets have? Grimace, the pimp guy, OMG, the pumpkin? I mean, what's your favorite gimmick the Mets are rolling with there? I know you're Yankee focused, but what's your favorite Mets?
So Todd would probably tell you this, AJ. I am a big music guy. Give me OMG. My mother-in-law, who is no longer with us, was a high school Spanish teacher. So I know a little bit of Spanish, and I dig that song. I think that song is really cool. I think Iglesias has got some skills. This is not some guy, some fake athlete just trying to sing. So I think it's pretty cool jam, and I like that they've got the OMG sign at Citi Field. Good for them.
Yeah, it's cool. He's got the remix out today too with Pitbull.
With Pitbull, yeah.
Wow.
Go to a Mets game, Jack, and then you hear it 24 hours a day. Trust me, you might like that song now, but it wears on you.
It's catchy like that. Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the time. Great to hang with all of us here with you together on a Friday, and we'll see what happens in the next round.
Thanks, guys. A lot of fun doing it, and I hope to see you down the line.
Thank you. Yeah, same here. That's Jack Curry from Yes Network. Give him a follow on Twitter as well at Jack Curry Yes. You know, I have a song that came out today too, AJ. Remember I told you about that? My song's out. I haven't sent it to you guys yet, but I'll send it to you after the show.
Please do.
I'm not even joking. I have a song.
I want to hear it. Let's go.
I mean, I'm excited now.
It's potentially the album of the year from the electronic music world. I'm not even joking. And you'll hear my vocals all over it. So get ready for it.
You and I got the Christmas songs. You got the electric. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I got the.
Kratzy's next.
That's what it is right there. So the album's called What Is Life? Annie Up is Chris Lake and Chris Lorenzo, two of the top house music DJs, producers on the planet. And the song's called Do You Know Where Your Children Are? Top five. You remember growing up hearing that on the news?
It would just come on TV at like 9:15, and it would be do you know where your children are? And then it would just go back to the regular channel.
Exactly. Well, you're gonna hear that 30 times on a track with a little.
It's perfect because Halloween's coming up. Halloween. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah, and it gets a little dark. They start to alter my voice a little bit because it runs again and again, and it almost sounds like
where your children are.
Yes, exactly, kind of like that. So I think it's going to be a smash. I told AJ about it last week, all secret. He kept it a secret for me, and now it's out. Came out at midnight. So I think it's going to be album of the year in the electronic music world. It's that damn good.
Let's go.
Where am I right now? What? Am I in like an alternate universe? What is going on?
This is real. Yeah. We can't play it, so you got to just download it or check it out on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're getting your music. But it's a real thing. It's my voice. I'm not singing.
Are we talking about Scott's album?
Yeah, my song. Yeah.
Oh, you're just not hearing about that?
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone else, AJ. It was just for you when I was down there in Orlando.
Man, whoever came up with that idea, they don't know what they created.
Exactly. They created a monster. I will tell you
seriously.
that.
I mean, it's no Pitbull OMG, but it's going to be a close second, I think.
You're going to hear it around the world.
Giving Scott an album is like giving me hair. Just arrogance everywhere.
I'm going to wear a cape. I'm going to wear a cape with the album name on it. Better Than Box Scores actually starts with some breaking news on the timing for tomorrow's Game 5. Did you guys see this? So it's supposed to be an 8 o'clock Eastern game, a little primetime action. Apparently there's some weather. And I don't know if you guys heard, but the last week of the regular season, MLB had some issues with the weather that caused the Mets and Braves to play on the, quote, off-day travel day for the playoffs. They had 2 games because they were reactive instead of proactive. So let's flip it. Let's get proactive. Cody Stavenhagen from The Athletic covers the Tigers, says that the elimination game will now be 1:08 Eastern time. There were weather concerns for late in the evening. And you know what that means? If you wait, you end up getting pretty screwed if you have to play that game the next day. So here we go. We got to give them their flowers, right? Got to give them their flowers. They were proactive. Do we agree? Choosing to go non-prime time over prime time for the sake of the game.
I think because of weather, I think you have to, right? I mean, there's no other choice, because then if you got to play the next day and then it's all of a sudden now the pitching changes, if you win, like all these different scenarios. So is that 1:08 Eastern or 1:08
Good
their
question.
time?
I think it's 1:08 Eastern. I don't think it's 1:08 local, but let me
Well, then
double
it
check.
would-
It's the Guardians and the
12:08.
Tigers. No, it's the Guardians and Tigers. They're in the East. It's in
Oh,
Cleveland.
yeah.
That's the East.
It's at Cleveland.
Cleveland is east.
Yeah, that's the East.
Because Detroit is central,
Cleveland's
right?
the East Coast.
No,
Yeah.
Detroit's East too. Detroit's East.
All right, never
East
mind.
times
And
are-
I take
Which
it
one's
back. I was
central?
stuck.
Which one's central? Minnesota?
Milwaukee's the first one.
White Sox.
Yeah, Chicago,
Milwaukee area. And Minnesota, right?
Minnesota. Kansas
Minnesota.
City.
farther west.
Yeah. So there you go. So it's East Coast time, 1 o'clock. Okay. So no one has to stay up
Yeah.
late. That's good. That's good action for Saturday afternoon where it's cold in some parts of the country. You get to watch some ball.
Competing against that.
College
But that's at
football
night,
swinging that
too.
Pigskin.
There's some big games on Saturday.
sun. Also the shadows too. I don't know how it is there at 1:08. So
It's all right there. It'll be all right there.
I like
They
it.
Scooball
Good
at
for
1
the
o'clock.
league. Oh, yeah. Scooball at 1 o'clock. Good for the league, though, for making sure that this happens. So
True.
what do we think about the series now? So yesterday, Cleveland comes back. We saw the David Fry game. I mean, how often, Todd Father, have you? Yeah, go ahead, Kratz. You made the biggest exclamation point with your face just now. I know what you want to say. You see a freaking tying or a go-ahead homer, and then he adds on with a little sack bunt to get the job done. Let's remember.
Don't forget to give them all of it.
Yeah, and
Pinch hit.
and also, hey, this dude was an all-star this year that nobody knew about.
He almost missed first base, but to hit a pinch hit home run against Brisky out there, like you couldn't have written it up better for Voter, who I think has hit all the right buttons. But then for him, his spot in the lineup to come back around and lay down the perfect squeeze bunt, like. You don't find he doesn't develop those skills if he's a 22-year-old just getting called up to the big leagues this year. This is his first real significant full season in the big leagues, and he had to do all that stuff. He had to be able to, whether he actually bunted in the minor leagues a lot or not, I don't know, but he had to be able to do it, and for him to be able to execute it in the only 2 at-bats he got yesterday, that's incredible. You won't see that again this postseason. You won't see somebody come in, pinch hit, home run, and then a safety squeeze again the next time up.
Talk about how what we always say, you get one pitch to hit in every at bat, and to come in as a pinch hitter and get that pitch and drive it exit stage left, like Ravi would say. Oh my goodness gracious, what an absolute monster hit. Think about Quan, too, getting the base hit before, the little things that happened before that, left on left. I thought it was it. I thought it was it for the Guardians. I got to be honest with you. Ramirez hits the homer. Then I think McKinstry hits the homer right after. I'm like, dude, these Tigers don't go away. But ultimately, that was it. The last couple innings. Safety squeeze, a home run to win it. Absolutely phenomenal. Class A gave up another run. So it's like, what's going on there? He's still throwing 100, but usually it's 3 up, 3 down. So something to look into as the game moves forward to 1 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting matchup. Look for a low-scoring game in that one as well.
Overexposure of relievers, AJ, with
I
Brisky
think you
pitching
started seeing it.
a lot. Yeah.
I thought you started seeing it with Smith and Gaddis and even Clase. I mean, Smith's thrown in every game this series. They've seen him 4 times now in 4 games, right? And so they're going to need him in Game 5 too. So I don't know. Yes, I think and the way that Detroit uses their bullpen, they see everybody every game except for in Skubal games. So if Skubal goes, the key to the game is Skubal. And the Guardians messed up because they had a chance in Game 2 to beat Skubal. It was 0-0 when he left the game. That's a game that if you're the Guardians, you're like, man, we should have won that game because when are we going to match Skubal 0-0 for 6 innings, right? So that's a game the Guardians have to think they let get away. But yeah, I think it's absolutely guys are getting seen too much because 4 games, the Tigers are throwing everybody every game. The Guardians are throwing everybody every game. That's why I think these bullpen guys start getting hit.
Yeah. That's why it's hard to buy into those two teams winning a best of 7 game series coming up and then another best of 7 game series coming up. You know what I'm saying? I think the longer that series gets, it starts to come up with repetitions and seeing those guys over and over and them just wearing down. A couple other quick notes. Kerry Carpenter has the leg injury. We'll see if he's playing. They really need him. He's probably their first, second best bat, something like that. I mean, making case for Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter carrying the team the most on offense. And then
that didn't look good.
No, that did not look good. And then for Cleveland, did you see the elimination game streak that they had going? I think we said 12 yesterday from one of our great fans in the chat, but it seems like it's 11. They had lost 11 elimination games in a row, dating back to Game 6 of the 1997 World Series. We brought it up to Jason Kipnis, who was on the show yesterday, and was like, really? You're going to bring that up to me? But good for them for finally snapping that and also snapping their 20-inning scoreless streak. So this team has had their postseason demons lately, and I think now, AJ, it's the Twins that have the longest elimination game skid going. But they'll have a new ownership group, so they'll be in much better shape going forward. They'll have someone who cares about them soon.
Did you guys even hit on that yet? Did you? I know Scott probably
yeah.
did. But did you guys even hit on the fact that the Twins did he? I didn't. I mean, obviously, I was in the middle of hurricane hell yesterday, so I don't know what Scott said and what Scott didn't say.
Scott, the show called Foul Territory, and Scott made a little breakout clip of his own. He even got that higher pitched voice when he gets mad. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like,
yeah,
and these guys, it's rude to your city. It's rude to your city, and it's just unfair. So it's a little higher pitched.
I went off. I ran out of gas after I went off for 5 to 7 minutes. So, yeah. Your thoughts, though, quick, AJ, as a former Twin that had to pay for your own damn sweatshirt?
I don't understand why, if this was in the works, he made the comments about, what did he say, about we're going to have to drop our payroll. Why do you have to make those comments? If you know you're selling the team, it doesn't make sense to me. Just say, hey, everything's, this or that. Maybe this is why Thad Levine resigned. Maybe, we don't know, but maybe this is why Thad Levine kind of out of nowhere made this decision that he wasn't coming back next year.
Right, because there's a new owner coming through, most likely, if they get the sale done. But also, why you just chit-chatting with Aaron Gleeman, who's great at covering the team about revenue and portfolio and all this stuff. Like, you're about to sell the team, or you would think. There's no way that they just thought of that right off the jump. It would be crazy if that was the case. Would it be crazy if it was like they suddenly just couldn't take it anymore because the city is absolutely losing their mind over how they're running things, and they were just like, you know what, Uncle, we're destroying our fam legacy. We got to get out of this. Let's just cash out finally and be done. This isn't for you, right? The pass off to the sun often does not go well. It's not going well here. Let's just say goodnight. Maybe it happened.
Yep, I agree. Could happen. But they were talking about it during the summer. I don't think ownership is worried. I don't think they're worried about coming to downtown Minnesota to hear fans groan and gripe at them. I don't know how many games they go to, but based on how they spend on their team, they're not going to games like John Middleton's going to games. Let's put it that way.
No. Portfolio, whatever. If you want to see more on that, then I encourage you to check out our YouTube channel. We posted a little bit on that yesterday. Give it a little subscribe. We'll swing right back. FT fam. We'll get into more of the games, the action. Of course, we'll get to Padres, Dodgers. Ken Rosenthal joining us soon. Shout out to Viore for being a part of this episode. I'm rocking the Viore shirt today. A little new perspective on performance apparel. Here it is. Go ahead, Kratz. Give me your best. Go ahead.
I mean, I love the long sleeves too. I gotta get me a long sleeve, John. But
It's
the
time.
whatever. I don't even. It's time. I mean, it's that time of year. We had frost last night on the grass. Had to cover up the strawberry plants so you don't lose the strawberry plants, Scott. But I love the color. I love how even you wore it yesterday. You wore a different one yesterday where like the color, it's almost like, I don't know, it's not digital camo. It's like stretched out digital camo. It's unique. They have all their own colors.
Exactly. So, hey, if you want to look like this or you want to be able to wear something that can accomplish your goals at home, cozy, at work, out at the club, listening to my new track, or or if you're a part of the FT fam and you're watching the show right now, this is perfect for any activity, any workout, designed to look great in everyday life, in the gym, outside the gym. So make sure you head over to the website, viore.com, and make sure it's viore.com/foul. If you're into 20% off your first purchase, okay, you'll get 20% off your first purchase with viore.com/FOUL, but also free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Again, viore.com/foul, and discover the versatility of Viore clothing. Hey, let's sizzle. Hot corner time. Thoughts on Shohei Ohtani's first postseason so far? Podfather, what do you think? I mean, we're getting all right. Let's get a number grade from each of you. 1 out of 10. I know it's only been 4 games, and we'll see what happens here in Game 5 if he can keep his team in it. But here's the stat lines for him in each of them, and no stolen bases yet either for the speed demon. Giancarlo Stanton still has the 1-0 lead on him. But all kidding aside, Todd Father, what do you think of Shohei?
I mean, we're giving it a grade. I would say, I guess, just because of that home run, 3 RBI, I would give it a C minus. I mean, what he has done compared to what he's doing right now, it kind of, it's not good. The big guns in some of these series are not stepping up. I mean, you think about some of the big names on each team, except a couple guys. He needs to step it up big time because he's facing Darvish tonight, who absolutely kills. I should have a better word. Dominates the Dodgers, and he's a very good pitcher. So, he's got to be ready. He's got to be ready to go, and he's got to kickstart him. He's their leadoff guy, and if he's not getting on, other guys are stepping. Last game they stepped up. Don't get me wrong. The team did really well. So. Take your walks, get on base, cause some havoc on the base pass. You don't need that big home run, but that would be nice. Yeah, I would say he needs to pick it up for sure.
AJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's been okay. I think you take away that home run, then I think it's a completely different judge of the series. If he doesn't have that one home run early in game one, then you're like, 4 for 16, 771 OPS. There's the home run, obviously, early in the game, 3-run homer. But that's changed his whole series around. He's got 7 strikeouts and 16 at-bats. They're pitching him really well. I think Mookie stepped up big time. Freddie's playing on one leg, basically. You'll see by my pick later who I think is going to win and why they think they're going to win. But I think Darvish against him is a tough matchup. Darvish, he cut him up his last time. He threw him 20 different pitches. Darvish was out there inventing pitches at those Shohei, and Shohei couldn't hit any of them. So, I think it's been okay. It hasn't been great, but he hasn't had that moment yet, and tonight could be the night where he has that moment.
Kratz?
I would say his play has been about a 2 out of 10. His bat flip was a 1 out of 10. That was just not a good bat flip. But his energy has been a 10 out of 10. Normally, he's very just stoic and boring 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. But I love his energy. He was yelling at the umpire on that ball that somehow banged off of Machado's glove and hit, who was that, Brian Knight? Hit him in the arm. I've never seen that before. But you can see that extra energy. And if I'm the Padres, I'm making that zone go. I am making him chase until he gets back to his calm, cool, and collected self, and he stays in the zone. And I think that's probably why you're not seeing quite the numbers that you're used to seeing, or that we're used to seeing from Shohei during this time of year.
We'll see if the bottom of the lineup can put pressure on him. They had a good game last time around here, but if you've got 1 or 2 on for him, it's a totally different AB, is it not? He's leading off, so he needs 7, 8, 9 to do some work in that lineup, so he can do damage.
Agreed. But before, you still have to, he's shown a propensity to chase. He showed that during the season, and he took his walks. His ability to chase and do damage on balls a little bit wider out of the zone than other hitters do. Now they're exploiting that, and I think extending it. And so you're saying if Gavin Lux gets on in front of him, they're not going to pitch around him, or they're not going to get into chase zones. I don't know. Freddie's hobbled. Freddie didn't even play last game. So Freddie's hobbled. Essentially, you got to get around Mookie and Shohei. I know Teoscar's a guy, but I still think you keep in those chase zones, and that's where the Padres have had success, and you does a really good job of nibbling on the edges.
My biggest thing is like we said in the Phillies Mets, the guys in front of them have to get on, or else they're not going to pitch to them. With Bryce Harper, Trey Turner had to get on. When Trey got on, it changed the game, right, for everybody involved. So I think the biggest key for them is, can they get somebody at the bottom of the order to get on, like Kratzy said. If they don't, then the Dodgers will continually see the Padres pitch very carefully to them, and Mookie Betts is going to have to beat them if Shohei can stay inside the zone. That's it. Tonight the game is, can you, Darvish, get them to chase, or can the Dodgers stay in the strike zone? If they stay in the strike zone, they'll hit them. If they don't, Darvish could deal.
Let's bring this to Ken Rosenthal, coming back in just a sec. He's waiting for us. So Kenny Ball Game covering this series inside Scoop Time on FT in a minute. All right, did you guys see some of these coaching changes? The Braves decided to let some coaches go, and the Baltimore Orioles made some moves just now with some coaches gone. So Orioles, it's bench coach Freddie Gonzalez, co-hitting coach Ryan Fuller, coach Jose Hernandez. And then Bob Nightingale said how the Phillies are not determining the fate of Thompson and their coaching staff yet. Kratz, I think Topper's fine, but I don't know. You tell me, but I think he's okay. Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. But okay, this is the bigger one to me. So the Braves, after being eliminated, said they had intended to bring the coaching staff back. but really they hadn't begun the evaluation process. So now they've let go of a few coaches. That includes Sal Fasano, their longtime catching coach, and it sounds like they're not going to hire a new one. And then Kevin Seitzer, gone as hitting coach of the Atlanta Braves. Quick hitter thoughts from anyone that's got one. Go for it.
First of all, I love Freddie Gonzalez. I played for him. He was awesome for me. He was awesome for, my last couple of years until we got him fired in 2016. But I really loved and respected Freddie Gonzalez. So sorry to see him go. He lives up in that area too. So that sucks. You never want to see anybody get fired. But there's one guy on the list, not going to name any names, who I'm also not crying about. But yeah, I think coaches come and go. Now, I will say this. I saw John Middleton after they lost to the Mets. He did not have the happy go smile face on when he was walking out of Citi Field. He was head down and just booking it to wherever he was going. But yeah, I mean, is Topper safe? He should be, but I've heard rumors. And if you talk to people on Philly's territory, Philly's show, they'll say there's rumors that there's going to be major coaching shakeups there.
Ooh, okay. Well, there's a show for that called The Philly Show with Zalecki and Salisbury and Ruben Amaro and all of that. But I mean, you're going to get these after the season, goes down and doesn't go the way you want it to go. Look at Baltimore and Atlanta and now Philly. Top father, especially for me with Philly, there's not that much flexibility with their roster. Like, they're not trading the big boys. No one's taking on contracts like that. So I'm curious to see what they do in terms of moves they make. Sure, you can. I mean, it was the offense. It wasn't the pitching that burned them here just now.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand some moves. You get rid of a bench coach. Like, was he the big problem? Like, was he causing rifts? Like, if you're gonna get rid of coaches, like, okay, well, I remember Dusty Baker. He had all his coaches back. One of the hitting coaches got released and fired, and he was mad about the whole situation. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
It's the Inside Scoop. It is powered by MLB Rivals. Ken Rosenthal with us right now. He's been covering the series for Fox and for The Athletic and joining us. And there you go, the QR code for MLB Rivals if you want it. But Ken, let's get the big Game 5 preview. What are you expecting here with a really classic matchup? Internationally, this is really cool to have Yu Darvish against Yoshinobu Yamamoto and, of course, Ohtani in this series too.
That part of it alone is really cool. I don't know that it's the focus of most fans. Most Dodger fans and Padre fans just want to see their team win, and they're not so intrigued by the matchup of two Japanese pitchers, historic though it may be. What is interesting to me about this game is that we really don't know what the Dodgers are going to do with their pitching. We know that they're going to start Yamamoto and hope for maybe 3 innings from him. And we know they're going to go to some variation of a bullpen game at that point. I guess what I'm saying is we don't know how successful this plan is going to be. Yamamoto has had great problems against the Padres this season, going back to the first series in Korea. He has not been consistent. He's a guy that, in my opinion, is a bit of a wild card right now. Their bullpen, really good, but the Padres saw all those guys the other night. I understand that if you're really good, you can still get guys out a second time, but having those looks, of course, helps. So that's the big question for me, how the Dodgers are going to navigate this again. They did it brilliantly in Game 4. Can they do it again in Game 5? And then with Darvish, it's really interesting, guys. On 4 days rest, which is what he'll be in this game, he has not been as good this season, not been as good over the last couple of years. The Dodgers did hit some balls hard in Game 2. It was not like they got totally dominated, even though it was a line of 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. They feel that they can maybe build on some things from that game. So I don't know where this ends up. I would say that on paper, the Padres have the advantage. They have a starting pitcher who is quite experienced in this kind of format. They have a rested bullpen, and they have, of course, a powerhouse offense. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there, to be honest. I'm looking at some numbers here. Yamamoto's 6.00 earned run average through the first 3 innings of games, 296 average against from hitters. If I'm Dave Roberts, am I second guessing this decision, or is it the guy, hey, listen, I got nobody else. It's either going to be a bullpen day or him?
Well, one thing about this, Todd, is that they don't feel they can cover 9 innings with a pure bullpen game again. They did it the other night because Landon Knack pitched the ninth. They just don't feel comfortable, even with the day's rest, going about it that way. So they need some help from either Yamamoto or Flaherty or both. And maybe it is both in the end. But that's the reason why they're doing this. Now, whether it works or not, that remains to be seen. And I would imagine, we know this, that the moment Yamamoto is in trouble, he's out of there. And whether it's Flaherty who has to bridge the gap or does it later after a couple of relievers come in, I don't know, but they're not going to mess around here. And if Yamamoto doesn't have it tonight, he's going to be out of the game.
Ken, normally in years past, I would have said this is a Dodgers easy win because I wouldn't have taken Yu Darvish to pitch a big game on Mars, forget on Earth, because just having seen his history and knowing him a little bit. But he's kind of changed a little bit. He's kind of flipped the script on that. And when you talk to him, he's a different person than he was a few years ago. Like, remember 2017, he started game 7, and remember he was tipping and that whole thing. So how big of a game is this for Yu Darvish to pitch himself? Because they need him to give them some innings.
I would say it's a big game for him for sure, simply because it's an elimination game.
But no, I mean
he has been in
personally, I'm talking more like his legacy, right? Because he was like the first Japanese guy to come over and strike out everybody, and he was like the mega star on the mound, right? I know some other guys came before him, but he's never really had that moment, right, in the playoffs where everyone's like, oh, he's a guy.
No, that's a great question. And I would say if he pitches well tonight and they win, that certainly enhances his legacy. Now, of course, they'd move on to another series where he'd have a couple of more opportunities. But 2017 Game 7, in addition to the tipping, there was the question of what the Astros were doing in that game, right? Because that was the year of the sign stealing, the most prominent year of it. So I don't hold that against him, but certainly fans remember it, and I'm sure he remembers it too, though he said yesterday that was a long time ago. This, I'm sure, means a lot to him. He's had a difficult year, of course. He was on the restricted list with a personal matter for quite some time. He had an injury that kept him out. He's 38 now. There probably aren't that many hurrahs left for Yu Darvish, even though he's signed for several more years. So I would imagine from his perspective, AJ, that yes, this is a meaningful game. I don't know if I would call it a legacy game. I don't know that players look at it that way. You guys could tell me better than I would think. But yeah, it's a meaningful game in his career. No doubt about that.
We kind of said it a little bit earlier. Can you grade Shohei Ohtani's postseason so far? Because we haven't seen it before. In two categories: playing, because we have numbers, but also the emotions that you've seen from Shohei, because you're down there, you're on the field, you're close to it.
He's into it. There's no doubt about that. And we've seen him be more emotional starting the last week of the season. Remember that series against the Padres? They were all more emotional than I could remember the Dodgers being. They're always such a buttoned-up group. So, yes, from that perspective, he has been much more visible with his emotions, much more outward in that way. You see the numbers there. It's not great. It's certainly not bad. And let's face it, the Padres have a great staff. Tanner Scott has been really tough on Shohei Ohtani in this series. And it's hard to hit in the postseason. The pitching is that much better. So, obviously, we've had a situation in the game where Aaron Judge has struggled in the postseason, Mookie Betts until the last couple of games. This happens. And I always remember going back to Barry Bonds 2002. The lesson that we all learned then, or should have, I guess, is that you give a great player enough chances, he's going to succeed. Now, it might not be this postseason in a monster way for Ohtani, but I would expect he's going to have a good game tonight, and I would expect if they go on, he'll be fine.
Going into Dodger Stadium, do you feel unsafe? Jeremiah Estrada said that they shouldn't even take the games back there because of how bad it is. We're just watching on TV. Your boots on the ground. Do you feel safe in Dodger Stadium, and is it maybe a little bit blown out of proportion what 3 to 5 fans have done?
I feel perfectly safe, but I'm not playing left field or right field or center field in front of the bleachers for the other team. And that's the real question here. Is it safe for those guys? And the other night, game 2, it was not safe. Things were being thrown, and it was completely uncalled for and unacceptable. Now, as you said, Erik, it's probably just a handful of people. So I'm hesitant to condemn any fan base for the actions of a few. It's kind of ridiculous to do that. And I am quite certain that security tonight will be tight and that hopefully the game will go off without a hitch as far as that kind of thing is concerned.
Ken, quick follow-up question on that. I know you were there and I'm just listening on TV, and I've been to games where there's been a little bit of action from fans and you've got to address it, right? And it can be difficult. There's a ton of fans. Like, you got to find out who did what. They try and throw something and then just kind of sneak back in. Luckily, people take cell phone footage, but that's after the game. My problem was I heard the announcement from the PA system and they're being told what to say. I didn't feel like it was forceful enough. Is that weird to say? But I called it out.
No.
They were like, you might get ejected if you do what. No. It's got to be like, hey, fans, we can't do this if you're doing this, and you will get kicked out and maybe prosecuted. I felt like it was a really soft call out, and they need a new script.
In fact, the Padres thought it was too late. It didn't happen quickly enough, and they didn't mention that it was forceful or not forceful enough. But I'm with you, Scott, and there can be no messing around here. There has to be a forceful statement right as soon as this kind of thing starts, and you got to get right with it. So your perception there, I don't believe is off. Certainly the Padres were concerned that things did not happen forcefully enough or maybe even quickly enough. So again, I do expect it's going to be better tonight. And my goodness, we've got a game 5 here. We've got kind of the peak of the sport. 2 amazing teams. You would hope that the focus is simply on the field.
Yeah, let's play ball. So is Freddie Freeman going to play? And if not, this is important. If not, because I know you've seen him and I'm sure he's going through it right now. Could he appear as a pinch hitting weapon at some point in this game?
My expectation is that he is going to be in the lineup, but it is day to day with him. And he might wake up today and it's not good. It's not just the ankle. It's an issue in his side as well. He's been wrapped after games. So it's been a struggle for him to get on the field. There's no question about that. And he is not the same Freddie Freeman. He can't move at first base and obviously running the bases the way he normally would. So we'll see what he can give tonight, but I imagine that he'll be in there. And if he's not in there, sure, Scott, he can definitely be available to pinch hit. One thing to watch is whether it compromises them defensively, because Freddie Freeman cannot move laterally the way he normally would. And who knows, one ball getting through in an elimination game, that might be enough.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Backtracking just for a moment, because we haven't spoken to you since the last game. Easy to look back now, but were you curious about Dylan Cease going in that game? And then, clearly they didn't have a plan to have him go long. And then they have him face Ohtani. That was the big part where I was confused.
Yes.
I'm like, why let him go against Ohtani again? Like, if you're going to remove him, if you're like batter to batter, this is the batter to remove him for. I know it was early in the game. It was a blowout, but every at bat and matchup and decision matters.
Scott, a lot of us had the same question. If you're going to start him, okay, but at that point, he's out. Morejon has to be in the game. He wasn't. Mike Shildt said afterward that he still likes Cease's stuff. I guess what else is he going to say? But that was a serious question. Now, as for the 3 days rest and all of that, Dylan Cease had never done it. And in my pregame hit on the field, I talked about how teams are now 64-91 since the wild card era began in 1995, including openers, when they start a pitcher on 3 days rest. 64-91. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work when you've got a guy who has never done it. Now, their logic was, and it's not entirely faulty, was that basically if they pitch Cease, they have Cease and Darvish, their 2 best pitchers, or 2 of their 3, along with Michael King, to pitch the final 2 games. That's how it's worked out. Darvish is going to pitch Game 5 tonight. But I understood what they were trying to do. They wanted to go for the kill there, but going for the kill with a guy on 3 days rest is rarely a strategy that you can be confident in, and it didn't work out.
2 more quick ones for you. So going for the kill, does Shohei Ohtani have any chance, even a 1% chance of pitching in this game for an inning late? And if not, they talked at all about his throwing progression? Like, I know he's still rehabbing as this is all going down.
They haven't talked about it, and he is still rehabbing. Of course, that has to continue. But it's funny. Yesterday, a few of us were saying that, hey, why don't the Dodgers just say he's available and mess with the Padres' heads? And I mentioned that to somebody with the Dodgers, and that person said, you guys are more devious than we are. I don't know about that, but I would still imagine if they advance that at some point in this postseason, there's a chance we would see him. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to announce he's back until they have to. But As I wrote at the end of this regular season, right before the playoffs started, a scout I know saw him throw a bullpen, I don't know, about a month ago now, I guess it was. And the scout said he was not throwing like a rehabbing pitcher. He was airing it out and throwing like a guy who was preparing to pitch soon. We'll see.
I love it. Even just the speculation, the thought of it, of him popping up in this or in the World Series. All right. Lastly, our friend, colleague in the industry who does great work, Mike Petriello, put this out there, and it plays to what I'm thinking too. He goes, just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. If the Dodgers beat the Padres 5 games into the series, it means the bye didn't matter. But if the Padres beat the Dodgers 5 games into the series, the bye did matter. Is that right? I know how like the chit chat with other media members goes when you're at the ballpark. I've been there for years in the playoffs. I'm not there this year. So just wondering if that's gotten brought up at all. And if we can put that to bed in a series like this, where the Dodgers have had good offensive games. And also they're just running into a good team that's played well for a while now.
Yeah, I don't see it applying in this particular series. Now, I have said and will continue to say, I want to see more of these outcomes in the division series to really determine whether the 162 game schedule is being honored sufficiently. This series is a little bit different. The Dodgers, one, are banged up. Freddie Freeman, Miguel Rojas, all the pitching that they've lost. It's not the same as a team coming into a division series with the bye and just having no offensive juice and kind of looking flat. The Phillies, that's sort of how they looked, but that's sort of how they have looked for the last couple of months, honestly. So I don't think it applies here, but I do still have concern, Scott, that this format, as I said, does not honor the 162 properly. We'll see. And it's too soon to draw conclusions on this. It's only the 3rd year of this format. But it's something that baseball certainly needs to keep its eye on because it's really important still in this sport to have the regular season be really meaningful.
Ken, you know what the record is of NL teams with the bye, right?
They
haven't won a series. They haven't won one. So the Dodgers are the shot, right? So we can put all this bye crap to bed. If the Dodgers win tonight, all the bye crap goes out the window because the Yankees did it, right? If the Dodgers do it, and then if the Guardians do it, that's 3 of the 4, right? So no more bye, no more whining, no more boo-hoo. We got too much time off because if you ask the players, they all say it doesn't matter. We just need to win. I talked to the Phillies about it. They said, we don't believe in that. We're just going to try and win. They just got beat. So can we please put all that to rest? Thanks, Ken.
Okay. Thank you, AJ.
Perfect. Perfectly stated. And yes, if the Dodgers lose, then it's going to come up again in the offseason. So either way, we'll have fun with it. Media doesn't lose on this one. Ken, thank you. Have an awesome, awesome game tonight. Game 5, we will all be watching.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Ken Rosenthal, Inside Scoop. It is powered by MLB Rivals. You can download the game for free by scanning that QR code on your screen. Ranked battle renewal, new rival series, great special cards, new trade event minigame. And if you want a little more, watch this.
In the heart of every baseball season, there exists a rivalry that transcends the game itself. We gather for the love of the game, we watch as history is made, and we play for our city.
Download MLB Rivals 24.
All right, FT fam, special shout out to Mint Mobile. No hoops, no BS. If you're looking for that cheap wireless plan, this is the spot. As we've brought these up, sometimes I get a little note from someone being like, damn, is that real? I got to go check that out. And they go, my wireless bill is blank per month. And I'm like, I think you need to go to mintmobile.com/territory and check it out. And they're like, is it the nation's largest 5G network? I'm like, yeah, it is. So make sure you check that out if you're looking down at your wireless bill and you're like, oh, I've been doing it all wrong.
Everybody is. Nobody can sit there and go, ooh, my wireless bill's pretty close to $15 a month. No chance.
Mm-mm. Back in the day, they're trying to create separators like, I can't carry my own phone, or, maybe I'm not able to get high-speed data, unlimited talk and text in certain ways with certain companies. Nope. Mint Mobile's got it all covered for you. And you just call your old provider, make the move. They bring the phone number over, all the existing contacts, the whole deal. It's very seamless. So go check it out right now, FT fam, to get the new customer offer. 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Let's get weedy, in the weeds. The Yankees are in the ALCS. The Mets are in the NLCS. Todd Father, you've played for both teams. Not that this necessarily matters. I just need your analysis on what you're seeing from the potential ball clubs that they could face. What's the matchup like here? What do you think works best for the Yankees? What do you think works best for the Mets when they're kicking back? And give me the player perspective on if those teams are watching the game fives tonight to see what they're working with.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're happy to get to where you are, and now you get to sit back a little bit, which is great. Let's look at the Yankees' perspective. You won't face Skubal for a couple games, so you say you face him twice in the series. Just give him both those games, so that's 2. I don't like the Yankees facing the Tigers, in my opinion. I think A.J. Hinch is unbelievable in what he does. He's magical. He understands who needs to pitch where. I mean, you see how many pitchers he goes through a game. It's anywhere from 6 to 10. When Skubal's not pitching, and he's pushed all the right buttons except maybe 1 or 2 in the matter of, 6 games so far. So that's incredible. So I think facing the Guardians would be the best bet. I think the Yankees have their number when it comes to postseason as well. So I'm going by in the past. I'm not looking at anything in particular with the Guardians, but I would say Yankees Guardians would be the best bet.
And Mets?
Oh, man. I don't know. I said the Dodgers from the get-go, but now looking at the record the Mets have against the Padres, 5-2. Oh, man. I just think the Mets are clicking on all cylinders, and I think they would rather play the Dodgers. I think the Padres bullpen is lights out, and I think the Mets can get to the Dodgers pitching staff.
Mets would rather play the Padres because if they're going to bring in bullpen guys, that's all they've been crushing. If you have a pitch, if you have an elite pitch, which most bullpen guys do on these good teams, the Mets have just been hunting it. They've been hunting it. They've been spitting on everything else. So they want to face a team that has the best bullpen. I mean, the Dodgers are going to throw pretty much all bullpen at you. But so to me, I don't think they want to face the Dodgers. I think they want to face the Padres. And because it'll be that, I would love that too, because then it would be the mashup of like the 2 Cinderella teams, as Bob Nightingale said it. And for me, the Yankees definitely want to see the Tigers. They're down Kerry Carpenter. They're going to be down Skubal. There's a chance Skubal only throws 1 game in the series. Now, had they won yesterday, had one of the teams clinched yesterday, and Skubal was still available, I really think he changes a series in just the 1 game he pitches. When he pitches twice, you're seeing it right now. You're seeing the fact that the Tigers are actually the favorites going into Cleveland for this final game, which is crazy and it's all because of Skubal. So without Skubal, I think and without Kerry Carpenter, if it looks like it looks, Yankees want to face the Tigers.
I don't think the Yankees care. I'll be honest with you, because the Indians bullpen's beat up too. They've thrown so much. Their starting pitcher, Bybee, we saw Bybee didn't look as sharp. Who are they going to start? Who are the Guardians going to start? I mean, Alex Cobb, that doesn't scare the Yankees. Matthew Boyd, that doesn't scare the Yankees, right? So, and their bullpen is banged up. They've seen the Tigers get to them. So I don't think the Yankees care, to be honest with you. They'll take either one. Does it help that Skubal's not going to be able to throw 1 or 2? Yes, but if it goes 7, he can throw 3 and 7. So it's got to get there, I know. But Skubal's also usually game 3 is a big one, and then obviously if he gets to game 7, that's a big deal. So I don't think the Yankees really care. They're like, play 25 innings tonight, wear everybody out, and we'll be sitting at home waiting for either one of you guys. So let's go. And for the Mets, I think the Mets want to play the Dodgers. I think their pitching staff is so beat up. Again, another 5-game series where Dave Roberts has to use everybody all the time. There's no starting pitching that's giving them depth. I think the Padres, if they had Musgrove, I would say, watch out. But I think they want to play the Dodgers. I think that the way that the pitching has gone, and I think the hitting with the banged up Freddie and some of the guys for the Dodgers not swinging it great, I think the Mets would rather see the Dodgers.
Let me tell you about something about watching a game when you've already clinched. It is one of the greatest feelings. We had a watch party in our clubhouse after our workout, after we beat the Cubs in the game 163. We watched the team we were going to play. It was Cubs versus the Rockies, and they did exactly what AJ just said. I think they played like 13 or 14 innings, and Wallers, the catcher, I forget. He got the base hit back up the middle to knock the Cubs out. We didn't care who we were going to play. We played the Cubs a ton. We felt like we matched up well against the Rockies, but to be able to sit there and know you've punched your ticket already and then hang out with your teammates, and shoot, we went home early before the game even ended. It was just an awesome feeling, a time of like reprieve, a time to like step back and just watch baseball, which you rarely get during the season. It always feels like you're on the whole time. So that was a fun moment. The Yankees get to appreciate that tomorrow at a 1:00 game and watching some college football too.
You know what I think happens is that baseball's such a long season, you can't look at the records. That's why we're watching every single day. And there are hot teams that emerge. We have to throw that out. The Mets apply here. The Padres apply here. The Tigers definitely apply here. To me, Kratz, what happens is the Guardians had a better overall season. They might have a little bit more talent on their roster, say, especially with the starting 9 and the offense. But the Tigers are a hotter team. They're playing better ball right now, or they're playing better ball in the last few months. So I think I have a hard time deciphering which of those two teams I'm going with because of the Skubal advantage for Detroit. I do think Cleveland's got a little more of a sure thing with the offense, even though they're just coming off the 20-inning scoreless. I don't know. What do you think in terms of just the offenses for those two sides? Which offense would fare better against Yankee pitching? Do you think like a little more contact from Cleveland, Quan, Jose Ramirez, right? A Naylor can pop a homer against anyone. I know he hasn't done much yet, but don't you think there's a little more there?
The Tigers are getting production, and this is a bad thing. It's just not something you can lean on if you're asking me to choose one of the two. They're getting a lot of production from guys coming off the bench. Platoon advantages. Wenzel Perez yesterday got their biggest hit of the season. And, he's coming off the bench. They're getting who else came? Henry Malloy.
Justin Henry Malloy's good. Yeah.
Yeah. He came off the bench and got a double. Hey, sit all 9 innings. And we need you to go get Clase if you don't mind.
And he
hit a double off the bench. Like, it's stuff that you're like, I get it. They're hot. But now the series is longer. Now this, first 5 games turns into 7 games. Everything gets stretched out. Does the hot streak wear off? I don't know, but I have to say that the Guardians are a better team. It doesn't mean they're going to win tonight because you have to beat Skubal. But if you're matching up against the Yankees, I think the Yankees really would rather face the Tigers.
Okay. Everyone else, let us know in the chat what you think. I see a couple people already throwing some picks out there. Hayden goes Tigers, Mets, World Series take it down. That would be quite unlikely. Why are you making that face?
I wouldn't be about that. Too much orange. Too much orange in the World Series.
So you're a colors guy? You're into what the color scheme looks like, one team against the other?
I don't like red. I don't like red. Me and AJ, we don't like red.
But there is no red. I mean, then you don't want Cleveland.
No, but nobody wants the Tigers-Mets series.
Why?
Tigers and Mets fans do. Tigers and Mets fans do.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people that are Tigers fans, and Todd and I know a lot of people that are Mets fans.
You want the big matchup. I'm a Fox guy. I'm like AJ.
You're a company man.
Yep, company man. I think it would be awesome for those fan bases. You are exactly right. Tad in the chat, big Tigers fan. I'll wear orange the whole World Series. They make it.
There you go. Wait.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Look like a pumpkin.
All orange.
I don't have anything. Ooh, I do have some orange shorts. It's gonna get cold during that time, but I have orange shorts.
Yeah, we can get you a little extra pair of orange shorts too if you need it, because it's going to be a long week. We don't want your clothing to smell. You know, you got to have two so you can wash the other and then keep wearing it.
Book it.
Yeah,
Book it.
Okay, fine.
I'm wearing orange tomorrow for my guy.
Mm-hmm. The Tigers are much more of a, quote, Cinderella story than the Mets, though. Right, AJ? I know we touched on this earlier with Jack Curry, but, I mean, that's the rough payroll numbers. The Mets still lead the charge, even though some of it is, quote, dead money that they used to trade for other players. But it's a big payroll team. That was part of why I liked the offense, though, dude. AJ, like, Brandon Nimmo's a good player. Pete Alonso's a good player. Francisco Lindor, obviously, is a superstar. Like, there are really good all-star caliber plus players on that team. Even Starling Marte, they paid a ton of money for him. He's had some really big hits for them. You know, Jose Iglesias, more of like the diamond in the rough find where teams weren't, you know, into his services anymore, and they talk him into starting the year in the minors, and he's just been awesome. But you know, they've got some big names in that lineup.
They do, and in the bullpen and in the starting rotation. I mean, Senga, let's not forget Senga was a superstar and ace before he got hurt this year. I mean, Minaya has been unbelievable. Severino was the Yankee saver there for a couple years, right? I mean, it's not like Jose Quintana's been around the block a few times. I think, when we talked to Jack Curry, he's like Mark Vientos, but Mark Vientos was a great player in the minor leagues. He just finally figured it out at the big league level. But you go around, they have Harrison Bader on the bench. He's making a lot of money. Starling Marte is a big money free agent. Francisco Lindor obviously is making a ton. Pete Alonso is going to be a huge free agent.
Edwin Diaz.
They have dudes. Edwin Diaz signed a huge contract. Ottavino doesn't even pitch. Ottavino's on vacation right now. He's like this. Oh, you guys get him. Oh, God, I'm just going to sit down here in the bullpen and watch this thing on TV because he ain't pitched in forever, right? So they're not a Cinderella team. They just got off to such a bad start. We look at it as a Cinderella team because they were the 6th seed. But they actually, like I've said, have the best record in the league since June 1st. Look it up. It's unbelievable. They're better than any other team you want to throw out there. The Mets.
Yeah, and that's been a long, long time for this team to play good ball. So anyway, that's in the weeds. We'll do picks and locks, all looking at the game 5 between the Dodgers and Padres tonight. We'll handle that. Next up on FT. See the qualifying offers out? Was it above 20? Or is this the first time it's above 20? I know it's 21, but
it was 20 last year.
It was 20? Yeah. Okay, so it's 21.05 according to Kylie McDaniel talking about it and how it's calculated with the average of the top 125 salaries in baseball. There you go. It was 20.325, so went up a little bit, but we'll talk more about this after the season. But after the World Series, you have 5 days to send that out to players. Most of the time it's sent out to players that immediately go, I'm going to free agency, but it's more about getting a compensation draft pick and the whole deal. So that's the number that's thrown out there. It's a healthy number.
I love it. I love it. Knowing that once the season ends, you're guaranteed that money. I mean, for some guys, that's got to feel pretty good going in the off season.
Yeah, and you got to do it right away. You know, you're right. Like most of the guys, I mean, Corbin Burns and Max Fried
Yeah.
types, like they're getting an offer and saying, "Ha, see you later." But there are fringe guys that pop up, and sometimes they do get accepted. So if you're one of those players that's on the fringe, and I don't have the whole list right now, yeah, you could get yourself a nice little 1 year, $21 million pillow contract to do one more season. And then if you do that season, you don't get a qualifying offer again. So it's a thing. I mean, the players hate it though, because it does diminish their value by a little bit, because teams put that into their equation for how much it costs for a player. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story about the 2020 season?
No.
Last year when this came out, I was in the lunchroom 2020. Obviously, it's COVID, so we're in San Diego, and I was in the lunchroom. I had just passed free agency. I just passed 6 years. I knew it was going to be my last year. Cashman knew it was going to be my last year, and I said, Cash, it was just me and him. I said, think there's a chance I get a qualifying offer? At the time, it was like $18.1 million. He said, everything's on the table. So I'm still hoping that if I hadn't quit, he would have given me a qualifying offer. But
What an answer.
I probably would have accepted it.
I would think you would have accepted it too.
I can't believe you quit, though. I mean, you had to challenge him. You should have said, all right, it's on the table. I will come back if you give me the QO. Put the pressure back on Cash.
They didn't need to wait the 5 days. It was like we were walking across the field and they were ripping my uniform off of me. They're like, you're off the 40-man roster. You're not even riding the team bus. They couldn't have gotten.
You should have told him, just give me a couple million, not 18. You would have been good.
The saxophone, the lion, it's BetMGM locks. Soto with a knock first inning, and then I'm like, come on, dude. Whatever. And then Salvi didn't hit his total bases for Kratzy, but Kip won. No sweat bet. Cleveland and Detroit got some runs in that one. So good for you, Kip. All right, let's spin it forward. There's money bags, and Pap is included on that list because he's off to a rough playoff start. So we're going to let Pap start things off and see how high he goes. What's he throwing down for tonight's Game 5 in the NLDS?
FT Nation, it's your boy Parlay Pap, man. It's been rough. I know that. I accept that. But you know what? There's got to be some point you turn it around. And today I turned it around with the Yaku. Okay, the Yaku is Japanese for baseball. Okay, and that's what I'm betting on today. Okay, I'm betting on 2 Japanese pitchers today to go out there and get absolutely shelled. I looked it up myself this morning. You know, I'm digging deep. Okay, I'm digging deep here. But every Japanese-born pitcher on a Friday night in a playoff game has an ERA of over 7. So I'm going with the over in today's game. And I'm going to parlay that with the Dodgers just because the simple fact they're at home. That's the only reason why I'm giving them that. And I'm going out of them with 200. And I think we had 255 on it. So let's get that cheese, please.
Look at that. Pap showing a little humility there. AJ, you need to get back on the board.
We all do. We all do. Trust me. Every time I think I got a winner, I don't. So, I mean, I feel Pap's pain right now.
Playoffs are tough. So, what are you doing today?
Especially when you got one game you can bet on. It makes it a little hard. Well, here's what I got. I picked the Padres to win the series. All right, before this all started. But I also picked the Phillies to win the World Series. So, I'm like Scotty and Kratz, and I think Frazier. All our bets are out. So, whatever. But I'm taking Max Muncy over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's it. So he hits a homer, that counts. Boom. Whatever. But I think Max is going to have a big game. I think they're going to be careful with some of the guys in front of him. So he's going to come up with some guy bases loaded, some guys on base while he hits. So I'm going Max, and he's an FT guy. So I'm going plus 110. I'm putting 500 on it to win 550.
Boom. There you go. Okay. I'll follow you because I've got a player prop tied into what I'm doing. I've got the Dodgers money line paired with Ohtani to get an RBI, and that's paying plus 240. And you're like, what? Plus 240? That sounds large. I would have thought it'd be more in the plus high 100s, you know? So it was at plus 195 in the BetMGM app. That's called a Lions boost. So I'm going to smash that. Hundo. Down to win 240. We'll see what happens. But got myself a little boost, Kratz. I thought I would make you proud there by finding that.
Coupons. You know I love coupons. I love the fact that I love the fact that I can't wait for Todd's pick because everybody's gone against Todd, and that is just a strong, strong case of watch out. But I agree with Pap that these pitchers may not do real well tonight, but I also know that this bullpen is awesome. So I didn't go the over-under. I went under both guys' strikeouts, 4.5 and 3.5. So I'm going under. I think managers will have a quick hook and go right to their bullpen. I think it's paying me plus 275.
You're up, Todd,
Very
Father.
nice. Very nice. So, long story short, I have the Dodgers winning it all, but I picked the Padres to win tonight. So, either way, I'm going to come out a winner, which is great. Well, at least for now. But I am picking the Padres to win for the sole fact that Yu Darvish in 15 starts versus the Dodgers is a 2.27 ERA and 2-0 against them in the postseason. He has come back and he looks he's like a fine wine. I feel like he's getting better and better. I got Padres money line, and that is at -1 or +120 because they're dogs. So 300 to win 360. Good luck.
Yeah, there's some value there if you're buying what the Padres have done against the Dodgers for the majority of the season. I know they're back home, and the bullpen game probably swung a lot of people back LA's way, but we'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone on their bets, and then I think Lucy Burge is jumping in with a bet too.
All right, hello, good day to you all. This is the Grimace Fit. The Grimace Fit has arrived. It comes with leg warmers, but not full boots or shoes. So you can pick whichever shoes you'd like to wear with it. I went with heels. His eyes look a little happier now, I think. I don't know. This outfit is ridiculous. This outfit is ridiculous, but it does come with accessories. So you have your pink milkshake, of course, but it can't spill. There's nothing in it. It's fake, but also the best part. See, dropped it, nothing spilled. This bag. This bag is incredible. So for holiday parties, this goes with everything. I was going to get a new Ferragamo bag. No, this is perfect. Beautiful. Look at this stunning bag. Stunning outfit. Absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but go Mets. 4 bets for today. Fernando Tatis Jr. to hit a home run. Manny Machado over 1.5 total bases. Same thing for Freddie Freeman and Gavin Lux to get a hit.
Thanks, Grimace.
I thought she was a Red Sox fan. She can't be a Mets and a Red Sox fan. I mean, she probably wasn't born in '86, but I mean, come on, you can't be a Mets and a Red Sox fan.
Great outfit. Good choice.
You guys gonna be Grimace for Halloween? Any of you? You want that? You want me to send you one of those?
There'll be a lot of grimaces around town here.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be huge in New York.
My kid was Grimace last year.
I'm Grimace out.
He was just immersed in the Grimace. He was just immersed.
I know AJ was, but wait.
And Grimace.
I'm not.
By the way, you know who should be their mascot? Seymour Wiener.
What?
Have you guys seen Seymour Wiener yet?
Yeah, on The Simpsons.
No, I'm serious. Y'all don't know the Seymour Wiener story?
Did he show up? Did the World War II vet show up?
No. So opening day, I think it was, the Mets did their veteran of the game, and he was a World War II vet, and his name was Seymour Wiener. So they've been running with that too. I mean, they've got so many gimmicks. It's great. But there was a lot of grimaces to watch in the stands the last couple nights at Citi Field. I love them. It's like OMG though. The more you see them, the more you kind of are like, all right, whatever works.
Yeah, you got to ride it out until you lose a series. Wait, Todd, did you say one of your kiddos was Grimace last year?
Yes, last year we were all dressed up as McDonald's characters, and we went to McDonald's.
You got to post that and be like, we knew.
Yeah, I should. We'll have it on. We'll have it on next week when the Mets start winning again.
There you go. All right, so BetMGM fam, if you're in the app and you want to drop a little cash on a home run prop, this is the spot. Why? Because you bet for a shot at $50,000 in bonus bets if a player hits a home run into the bullpen. Got to put down at least $10 on a straight bet on a home run prop. And if the player you wagered on hits a homer that lands in an MLB team bullpen, prizing is paid out in bonus bets that expire in 7 days. There were 2 Tigers homers into a bullpen yesterday, Zach McKinstry and David Fry. There was one person on BetMGM who hit Zach McKinstry to homer. So that means that person got $50,000 in bonus bets. Go check it out. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yes, AJ?
By the way, Hawk to a girl and Grimace might have a fight because they're kind of Hawk Tua is battling with Grimace over who brought the better record since they appeared. So one hand you have Grimace, the other hand you have Hawk Tua. Throw in OMG and Seymour Wiener in the middle. You got the Mets.
Yep, exactly. Everyone just looking for their next big content viral hit. I'm going to save that topic on the doctor's rule proposal for the end here during slap. So let's just do this for 2 minutes first because it's quicker. The Twins are valued at about $1.5 billion by Forbes. They bought the club 40 years ago for $43.5 million. Over under on the sale. Really? Over?
Over 1.4? Is that what you said?
1.5. I got a little under. You going over?
I got a group that'll buy them for 1.6. Call me, Paula. Call me, Jim.
I love
Joe. Right?
I love how we're
Jim's the dad. Joe's the kid, or no?
Joe. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe.
Wait, get involved. Give
Carl.
him a call.
Carl was the dad. Carl was the original.
Oh, Carl Pollad. That's right. Wait, why don't you call? That might be the winning bid.
Call me. I got some guys.
Do it. We're getting deals done here on Foul Territory. I love how we're just throwing around points like they're not like 1.4 and 1.5. Like that's $100 million. Like when teams are getting sold for this much, let's stop. Let's stop with the payroll bickering. Like let's go out and put a winning team out there. 1.4. I'm gonna say he's got a coupon. Whoever buys it is gonna have a coupon. So they're going to buy it for 1.49.
Yeah, the sell price.
I think the Twins are desirable because they have a good stadium that's done right. They're in a good division. They have a rabid fan base when they show up, and I think they have a good history. I think the only thing they're missing is they don't have a TV deal because of kind of what happened. But I think you can get that done. And I think the Twins are desirable because of that, and I think they'll go over 1.5.
Someone put it really well on social media yesterday. They were explaining the Padres versus the Twins, and they're like, there's no reason why the Twins can't be more like the Padres. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the San Diego market is smaller than Minneapolis, and half the owners act like they just can't get out of this teeny tiny market. There's just barely any humans living there. It's ridiculous. So yeah, whoever it is, I hope. Someone said yesterday on one of our videos, I hope it's someone local. I'm like, how about you just hope it's someone that cares? That's what you should focus on. Forget the local. Someone that cares about baseball. That's what you want.
Definitely. And hopefully they have a coupon.
Coupon. Here we go. Let's slap. We have a few minutes, so we'll go over a topic brought up by Dr. Keith Meister, who's been on this show before and had a very, very important, informed conversation with us about the epidemic of arm injuries that continues to plague our sport. He was like, yeah, I'll throw some radical ideas out there. He proposed banning 2-strike foul balls. He's like, we got to cut down on pitch count and game times. And prolonged
what is this,
ABs.
the Savannah Bananas? What are we playing? I love Dr. Meister, but what are we playing? The Savannah Bananas here? You hit a foul ball in the crowd, you're out. You walk, you run around the bases until every player touches it. Like, come on, dude, stop it.
Yeah, too much.
I don't even want to hear the rest. I don't even want to hear the rest because you lost me at the first one. He lost me at the first one. So
hey, it would bring back
the
starting pitcher would come back to life again in the big league.
There'd be like 100 pitches in the game total. You'd be like, all right, strike one, strike two, foul ball, you're out. All right, time to go home, guys. Thanks. Yeah,
I would rather have it be a 7-inning game.
75 pitches, 9-inning game. He'd have 40 strikeouts. No, it was just a crazy, a crazy point. Looking for some love. That's what he's looking for.
We need to encourage this. Yeah. We need to encourage it because somewhere you have to start on the extremes. We can't just be like, well, you know what we should do? We should punish people who are throwing the ball too hard. Like, there's extremes. Like, let's start on the extreme. We've now got a bookend. This is the extreme. Foul balls with 2 strikes are outs. And here's where we're at. So we got to find a place somewhere in the middle.
Well, because
Like
we haven't heard any good
wiffle
ideas
ball.
that actually
Wiffle ball.
apply.
Two fouls, you're out.
There you go. But top 5, I think the important part is I agree with Kratz. Like, let's talk about it, say it's wrong, and then say who's got another one. Because I haven't heard anything good. And we've been talking about it all year.
How about we try to figure out arm problems and let's not. Why do we always have to change the game rules? Why do we always have to change the rules to make things? Why don't we just try to figure out arm problems? Figure out arm actions. I don't understand why we just always change the rules. Like, oh, so-and-so got hurt because he got run over at home plate, Buster Posey. Like, let's change the rule. There's been guys doing that for 100-plus years. Oh, Chase Utley broke Ruben Tejada's leg. Sucks for Ruben Tejada. Really sorry he got hurt. But, again, go back and watch Hal McRae tackle Willie Randolph. Tell me that wasn't fun to watch. I mean, it's
helicopter parents, AJ.
Why do we always got to change the rules? Why do we got to change the rules?
Because I don't think there's going to be a great solution here. You're not going to tell someone to dial it back or work on your arm care when they have the chance to make it and they won't make it otherwise.
Long toss.
They won't make it.
Throw more. Do something. Do something on your own. It's your career, and teams need their starting pitchers out there. Teams aren't trying to break players. They're just not trying to keep them healthy.
Correct. That's not their problem. And for players too, of course they want to be healthy, but they're like, if I don't do what the team wants me to do and what everyone else is doing, I'm not going to be pitching in the big leagues.
So the league doesn't need to step in and be like, oh, we got you guys. We got to make sure everybody gets a trophy. No, like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, we don't have to change the rules again. Like, players will figure this out. I promise.
Kratz, what hat do you got on today, kid? Hurry up.
Oh,
You got 10 seconds-ish.
the Royals, AAA, Omaha Storm Chasers.
That's nice. Todd, I got a question for you on the way out. Do you know where your children are?
Oh, I gotta go. Good one.